Hi, friend. I'm Emily, and welcome back to English and Ease, the place where we learn to speak English not just with our mouths, but with our hearts and minds. I don't know what kind of day you've had, but if you're here, listening, it means you care. You want to grow, and I want you to know I'm right here with you. Today's episode is special, not because we're diving into grammar rules or fancy vocabulary, but because we're talking about something more personal, more powerful, something that doesn't begin with a textbook. It begins inside your mind. You see, fluent speaking isn't just about saying the right words or sounding native. It's about how you think. The little conversations you have with yourself before you ever open your mouth. I've seen so many learners get stuck in this loop. Maybe you've been there too. You study hard. You memorize all the phrases. You even practice shadowing every morning. But then, when it's time to speak, your hands start to sweat. Your heart pounds, and your mind whispers, "What if I mess up?" And just like that, the words disappear. I know that feeling. I remember standing in a small cafe in Rome, trying to order a simple espresso in Italian. I had rehearsed the sentence in my head at least 20 times. I knew exactly what to say. But when I stepped up to the counter, I froze. It wasn't the grammar that failed me. It was fear. Fear lives in the mind, and if you don't learn to talk back to it, it controls the conversation. So today, let's flip the script. Let's train your mind to be your teammate, not your enemy. Let's begin with something that often gets ignored: your mindset. Think of it like this. Your brain is the engine, and your words are the wheels. If your engine is clogged with self-doubt and fear, it doesn't matter how many vocabulary words you've memorized, the car won't move. So ask yourself this: have you ever known exactly what to say in English, but still didn't speak because you were scared? It happens to almost everyone. I've heard this from my students again and again. I was ready, but then I panicked. My brain went blank. I didn't want to sound stupid. That voice. That's not your English ability talking. That's your inner critic. And it can be loud. It says things like, "You're too slow. You'll never sound fluent. People will laugh at you." But let me tell you something honest. From one learner to another, that voice is a liar. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be brave. Let's try a small exercise. Right now, I want you to say this out loud or just whisper it in your heart. I can speak English. I'm learning. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Feel that shift. That's the beginning of a new mindset. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine two students. One says, "I can't speak English. It's too hard." The other says, "I'm still learning, but I'll try." Now, who do you think will improve faster? It's not about talent. It's about belief. I always tell my students, if you think you can't, you won't. But if you think you can, you just might surprise yourself. Confidence doesn't fall from the sky. It's built sentence by sentence, step by step. And every time you try, even if your voice shakes, that's progress. So before you speak English with your mouth, speak kindly to yourself in your mind. Tell yourself, "I'm doing my best. I don't have to be perfect to be understood. This is part of my journey." You are not behind. You are not too slow. You're exactly where you need to be. Now let's go one level deeper. Let's talk about that quiet, invisible voice you carry with you every day, your self-talk. Self-talk is the little narrator in your head, the one who comments on everything you do. And for many learners, that voice is, well, kind of mean. It says, "You always mess up. Your pronunciation is terrible. Why even bother?" Sound familiar? But here's a question. Would you say those words to a friend who's learning English? Of course not. You'd say, "You're doing great. I'm proud of you. Keep going." So why don't we speak to ourselves that way? Let me tell you a story. There was a young woman in one of my beginner classes. Her name was Lonnie. She always sat quietly, barely speaking. When I finally asked her why, she said, "Because I always forget my words." I'm not good at English. I asked her gently. When you speak to yourself, what do you say? She paused, then whispered. I say, I'm going to mess up. I asked her to change that. Just a little. I told her. Next time, say to yourself I might forget a word, but I'll figure it out. She nodded. And you know what? The next week, she raised her hand, for the first time, and spoke a full sentence. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. That's the power of self-talk. So here's your homework, not grammar, not vocabulary, just this: pay attention to your inner voice. And when it's being cruel, gently correct it. Say, I'm learning. Mistakes mean I'm growing. Every time I try, I improve. Sometimes I even say these words out loud, just to remind myself. And you can too. You'd be amazed how comforting your own voice can be when it chooses kindness. Because fluency isn't just about words, it's about courage. And courage starts in your mind. So the next time you feel nervous before speaking, take a breath, put your hand over your heart, and remind yourself, I am learning. I am enough. I can do this. You don't have to believe it perfectly yet. Just be willing to try. In the next part, we're going to explore one of my favorite tools, something athletes, performers, and yes, even English learners use to build confidence. It's called visualization. Trust me, you're going to love this one. See you soon. Welcome back, friend. So far, we've talked about mindset, the quiet thoughts that either help you speak English or hold you back. We've talked about self-talk, the way your inner voice shapes the words that actually leave your mouth. But now, I want to share something even more exciting. It's a technique that helped me not only learn languages, but also calm my nerves before job interviews, presentations, even first dates. It's called visualization. Now, don't let that word scare you. It sounds technical, but it's really just a beautiful kind of daydreaming with purpose. Let me explain. Have you ever imagined yourself doing something before it happened? Maybe picturing yourself giving a speech, or having a conversation in perfect English, or walking into a room and feeling completely confident. That's visualization, and your brain loves it. Athletes use it all the time. Before a race, a runner closes her eyes and pictures herself crossing the finish line. She feels the ground under her feet, hears the sound of the crowd, and imagines that final moment of victory. That mental rehearsal actually improves her performance because her mind starts to believe it's real. Now imagine using that same mental trick for English. Here's how it works. Before you go into a conversation or even just an online lesson, pause, close your eyes, take a breath, and picture yourself speaking with ease. See your face relaxed, your voice steady, the other person smiling. Picture the words flowing naturally. Feel the pride in your chest, the calm in your mind. Visualization is powerful because your brain doesn't always know the difference between real and imagined experience. If you rehearse success in your mind, your body starts to believe you can succeed in real life. Let's try it together, right now. If you're somewhere safe, maybe sitting at home or in a quiet space, just close your eyes with me. Ready? Take a slow breath in and out. Now imagine this. You're sitting in a cozy cafe. There's soft music playing. You're holding a warm drink in your hands. Someone next to you smiles and says, "Where are you from?" You smile back, calm, confident, and you answer in English, clearly, naturally. You don't rush. You don't panic. Your voice is steady. Your mind is clear. The words come. You feel proud. The conversation continues, and you realize you're doing it. You're really doing it. Now take one more breath in and out, and gently open your eyes. How did that feel? Sometimes, when my students do this for the first time, they tell me, "Emily, I actually felt confident, even if it was just in my imagination." And I always smile, because that is the point. Confidence begins before the conversation. It starts in the quiet rehearsal room of your mind. So before your next English interaction, I want you to visualize success, even if it's just for 30 seconds. See it, feel it, believe it. Because the more your brain experiences success, even imagined success, the easier it becomes to live it. Now, let's talk about something that affects all of us. No matter how long we've been learning fear, fear is tricky. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers. What if I say it wrong? What if they don't understand me? What if I look stupid? And suddenly, you go quiet. You hold back. And the chance to connect vanishes. You're not alone. I've felt that fear too. I remember a phone call years ago. I had to speak in French, just a few sentences, but my hands were trembling. I stared at the screen, willing myself to dial. And when I finally did, I forgot every word I had rehearsed. Why? Because fear hijacks the brain. It moves you into survival mode. Your body tenses, your heart races, and the language you do know gets trapped behind a locked door. But here's the good news. Fear isn't a life sentence. It's just a signal. And signals can be managed. One of the simplest ways to calm fear is by naming it. Say it out loud or quietly to yourself. I feel nervous. I'm afraid of making a mistake. Just naming the emotion helps your brain slow down. It tells your body, hey, I see you, and it's okay. Another powerful tool, your breath. Before you speak, pause. Take 2 or 3 slow, deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. This small act sends a message to your nervous system. We're safe. We can handle this. And here's something else I want you to know. Not all emotions are bad. Excitement, curiosity, even joy, these are feelings that can help your fluency. Have you ever had a conversation where you were so interested, so engaged, that you forgot to feel nervous? That's the magic of positive emotion. So rather than trying to erase all your feelings, I want you to welcome them. Say I'm a little scared, and that's okay. I'm also excited, and I want to connect. Because English isn't just a language, it's a bridge between your heart and the world. Let me tell you one more quick story. There's a student I used to work with, Takahiro. He had great grammar, solid vocabulary, but every time he tried to speak, he froze. One day, I asked him, "What's the scariest part for you?" He said, "That they'll laugh." So I asked, "What if they do?" He looked at me, silent. And I continued, "Would you survive it? Would the world end?" He shook his head. "No." And then something shifted. He realized, yes, it would be uncomfortable, but it wouldn't break him. And from that day forward, he started to speak, slowly at first, but then, with more ease, and eventually, joy. Fear didn't disappear, but it stopped controlling him. And that's what I want for you, to feel the fear and speak anyway, because the only way out of fear is through it. So next time your heart races before you speak English, take a breath, smile, and whisper to yourself, this feeling is just part of the journey, because it is, and you're walking that path beautifully. In our next part, we'll talk about one of the most important shifts a learner can make the moment you stop saying, "I'm learning English," and start saying, "I am an English speaker." Identity is a powerful thing, and once you change how you see yourself, everything else begins to change too. I'll meet you there. Welcome back, my friend. If you've made it to this part of the episode, I want you to pause for a second and smile, because it means you've already done something powerful. You've stayed present. You've listened. You've reflected. And that's exactly what strong English speakers do, even before they speak a single word. So far, we've explored how mindset, self-talk, visualization, and emotional awareness shape your fluency. But now, I want to talk about something even deeper. Something that, in my experience, changes everything when you let it. Identity. Yes, who you believe you are. Because you can study every grammar book in the world, you can shadow native speakers, you can memorize 1,000 idioms, but if, deep down, you still think, I'm not an English speaker, then your brain and heart will keep holding back. Let me ask you something gently when someone asks you, do you speak English? Do you hesitate? Do you say, a little, or I'm still learning, or not really? It's okay if you do. Most learners say that. But here's the shift: you don't need to wait for perfect grammar or a flawless accent to claim that identity. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're reading these words, if you've ever said anything in English, then you're already speaking it. So say it with me now. I am an English speaker. Not someday. Not maybe. Now. I remember the first time I said, I speak Italian. I was still making so many mistakes. My verbs were a mess, and I constantly forgot words. But I had just helped a lost traveler in the subway station, using the little Italian I knew, and they had understood me, smiled, thanked me. In that moment, I realized I wasn't just learning Italian anymore. I was using it, living it. And that's the moment everything began to feel different. When you shift your identity, your actions follow. You start thinking in English. You begin taking more risks. You stop translating every sentence in your head. Why? Because now, English isn't something outside of you. It's part of who you are. Let's practice that idea right now. Think of something simple you did today. Maybe brushing your teeth, drinking tea, walking outside. Now describe it to yourself in English. No pressure, no full sentences needed, just thoughts. I'm brushing my teeth. This coffee is strong. The sky is so blue today. That's how identity starts to grow, by gently using English in your inner world first. So here's a tiny challenge for 1 hour each day. Try thinking in English. Narrate your day like a little voiceover in your mind. And when that voice says, you're not good at this, pause and say instead, I'm getting better. I'm growing. Now, I want to talk about a trap that many learners fall into, one that blocks fluency more than bad grammar ever could. It's called perfectionism, the belief that you must speak without errors, or don't speak at all. Sound familiar? Perfectionism tells you, if I can't say it perfectly, I shouldn't say it. If I make a mistake, I'll look stupid. If I don't sound like a native speaker, I'm failing. But here's the truth. My friend, fluency is not perfection. It's communication. You're not learning to be a robot. You're learning to be yourself in another language. Do you remember learning to walk as a baby? You fell a lot. You stumbled into tables and bumped your head. But did you stop trying because it wasn't perfect? No, you got up again and again. And now, walking is effortless. Language is the same. Every mistake you make is not a sign of failure. It's proof that you're trying. It means you're stepping forward. So let's reframe your idea of success. Instead of thinking, I didn't say that perfectly, try thinking, I expressed myself. I was brave. I had a real conversation. And that's worth celebrating. Here's a tiny ritual I do with my students. At the end of each day, I ask them to name one sentence they spoke in English. Just one. Then I ask, did someone understand you? And when they nod, I say, that's fluency. That's it. Because fluency isn't about being flawless. It's about being understood. And being understood starts with trying. So I give you permission right here, right now, to let go of perfectionism. Mistakes are part of your voice. They are steps on the path. They are beautiful. Now, I want to end today's episode with something close to my heart, something I practice every day, not just as a teacher, but as a learner too. It's called mindfulness. Mindfulness means being fully present in the moment, not lost in the fear of future mistakes, or stuck in the past where you messed up a word. Just here, now. When you're mindful, you're focused on what really matters, connecting, listening, expressing. Here's a simple way to be more mindful when you speak. Before a conversation, pause. Take one slow breath. Feel your feet on the ground, your voice in your throat, your heart beating steadily. Say quietly to yourself, I am here. I am ready. I don't have to be perfect. And then, speak. With presence. With kindness. With heart. You'll be amazed how this small practice can change your energy, your focus, and your fluency. So today, we've come full circle. We started with your mindset. We moved through self-talk, visualization, fear, identity, and perfectionism. And now, we arrive at mindfulness. All of these tools live inside you. They don't cost anything. You don't have to travel far to find them. They begin where all fluency begins, in your mind. Before I say goodbye, I want to leave you with one final reflection. You are not just a learner. You are a communicator, a storyteller, a bridge between cultures. Your voice matters, even when it trembles. Especially when it trembles. So speak. Not because you have perfect English, but because you have something to say. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm so proud of you. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who might need it too. And if you ever feel stuck, come back and listen again. Let these words hold space for you. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and above all, keep believing. You are an English speaker, and the world is lucky to hear you. Take care, Emily.